them build a white-only community in Arkansas, they'll find out. They'll find out how bored they are. I mean, without Mexican, Indigenous, Black, Asian influences, like, what are they even doing? Like just eating mayonnaise and listening to country music, I guess? Like, I'd be really worried about the kids in that community, though, right?
No Black, no gay, and no Jewish people. That is the rule in this white-only town being built in Arkansas.
No blacks, no Jews, no gays. High up in the Ozark Hills, in the state of Arkansas, dozens of people have been working hard, building houses and a new type of community. It's called Return to the Land, and it is a town open to white people only.
So did y'all hear about the people that are moving to Arkansas? They want to build their own town. Stop it. So did you know also that now they are begging the government to help them? They want money for housing. They want money for food. I thought you were so above everyone and you can only be white to live here. Really? Use your whiteness and all that money that you claim you have and build your own town the way you said. No one cared. No one cared that you had that land, that you only wanted white people. You had to put in an application and they can deny your application because you weren't white enough and you weren't superior enough. Oh, really? So why do you need that same government to assist you, boo? That doesn't even make good common sense. And then they claim that they're so great at building and architecture and engineering, but they're not even qualified. If you look up the qualifications in their town, they don't match. So the only qualifications it looks like they have, I'm white.
I need y'all to understand that those people do not intend to leave us alone in their little town in Arkansas. It's recently been in the news that some chalk children in America have decided to create their own whites-only town. And when asked by a reporter, they made it seem as though that they intend to just have a town of their own and resources of their own and just live off the land, returning to the land. A land that they stole through crimes against humanity, but who's counting? Many brothers and sisters' take on this is, hey, we don't care if y'all have your own, just leave us alone in the process. I mean, every time we've tried to do that, y'all have burned our towns down. And I'm just here to tell y'all that unfortunately, they do not intend to leave us alone. In the interview with the colonizer that wants to found this whites-only town in Arkansas, they're making it seem as though they just want to live in peace. We must remember that these are people that have never known peace. They didn't know peace when they was by themselves in the ice-cold mountains of Europe, and they're not going to know peace in the middle of Arkansas. In the 70s, there was a black scholar that broke down white supremacy into an equation. The same way that E equals MC squared, white supremacy equals white power over non-white powerlessness. And so that means that white supremacy cannot live in an environment where non-white people have any form of power. Because if there's no non-white people around, who are they superior to? Nothing they have achieved has been achieved by leaving people alone. It's like if your son or daughter said they didn't want to live in the house anymore and locked themselves in their room. In order to eat, brush their teeth, or do anything, that child would have to come outside the room. And it's the same thing for them. At some point, they are going to need resources and labor, and that's when they turn to us. And if we have our own power and our own resources, then we have no reason to share with them. And that is when they destroy what we have so that we have to work with them. Don't be fooled. Just like the movie Sinners, it all starts out nice and pleasant, but they have ulterior motives.
People are always so shocked when I say I'm from Arkansas, and I'm always like, what do you mean? Like, I open my mouth and it sounds like I'm from the middle of nowhere. But then I went to New York a few weeks ago, and I was like, oh. I mean, we would go to these events, and people would be like, where are you from? Expecting you to say, like, LA, New York. And when I said Arkansas, they were like, huh? They would be like, what the heck is Arkansas? And I'd be like, oh, it's just like a little island in South America or whatever. But no, for real, you would have thought that I was from a foreign country. I mean, they were like, what does Arkansas look like? And I was like, trees. They were like, that's so cool. Like, what do you do in Arkansas for fun? And I was like, go to Walmart, drive around on like dirt roads, watch grass grow. Like, it depends on the day, really. I mean, the icebreaker of the week was me pulling out a blank USA map and people trying to point out where Arkansas was on it. And it was at that point that I was like, oh, now I get why people are shocked when I say I'm from
I feel like this might be a hot take about that community in Arkansas, where they're building an all-whites town. No blacks, no Jews, no gays. I sincerely hope it works out, right? Like I hope you all do so well, and I hope more people who think like you move there. I want you guys to segregate and isolate yourselves. I'm sick of having to figure out who does and does not like me simply based off the color of my skin. Knowing that there is a specific town to avoid, that saves me so much trouble in the long run. I wish you all nothing but thoughts, tariffs, prayers, and nothing but the best. Like I'm hoping it truly works out for you guys. And I'm hoping that you all get a lot of like-minded individuals in that town with you and you can all be successful together. Like I want nothing but the best for you people. I want you to isolate yourselves. I don't want to have to play guessing games about where I should and shouldn't be, sundown towns. Like there are specific towns that I will not drive through between Texas and Louisiana at night, simply because, I'm not sure if I should stop there. That's one place in Arkansas that I know I will never have to go. And I know I should not be there. Keep me out. Keep people like me out. I hope it works out for you all.
Has everyone seen that community that's being built in America where they are only accepting white Americans into their community that they're building? And recently Sky News went over and actually interviewed these people and asked them what they were basing it off of, basically. And they said that it was just a community of people with similar ancestry to each other. I have another word for this, it's called a sundown town. And also, let's not forget to mention that the double standards are insane, because if this was the other way around and any other race was having a community and wasn't letting white people in, the outrage and the public uproar that would occur is, you can only imagine. This group said in their interview that the community was about freedom and just a community. However, it is nothing other than organised hate. The fact that this is also legal and does not fall under any regulation of discrimination and simply racism is absurd to me, but also not even slightly shocking considering the current state of the USA. And people say that the far right aren't racist or xenophobic or sexist or whatever, but then full on build a community based off race and segregate people based off race. It is genuinely very, very scary times, and the fact that this is accepted, disgraceful.
It sucks to be a white American. Now hold on, give me a chance, let me explain. I want you to think of the kind of person who would put on a White Lives Matter sticker on the back of their Ford pickup. Why do they do that? Is it all racism? Well, yeah. But I think it goes a lot deeper than that. White Americans basically have no culture. Not in the same way we see other people. And we white people, we know this inherently, and it scares us. We know we have our regional cultures. Our cities, our sports teams, and families all give us our regional culture, but being white basically means nothing, or generally at least nothing positive. White people throughout American history are almost always seen on the side of the oppressors. Not all white people, but most of us. And this sucks to learn. It's even harder to internalize. And it's why white people usually don't accept this, because it makes us feel a deep sense of guilt. I think it's why white people say nonsense like, I can't be racist, I have black friends. Sure, you probably don't see black people as objects, but you're refusing to accept the role our people have had in their oppression. That guilt we feel is our responsibility for the actions of our ancestors. It's why white people refuse to say that black people deserve reparation, because it admits our guilt. But black people deserve reparations. It just makes sense logically. You can sue someone for scratching your car, but black people can't sue the American government for the enslavement of their people. My people are arresting and deporting Mexican families from this country. Think about that. We are telling people that they are not allowed on the land we stole. Let's go a step further. White people stole a sacred land site from the people indigenous to this land and then carved 4 white people's faces on it, most of which were slave owners. I mean, Mount Rushmore is a place that we look at and we're like, oh, cool, giant faces. But to other people, it's a giant form of oppression, and admitting that and coming to terms with that sucks. We suck, dude. My people really and truly suck. Not all of us contributed to this oppression, but we are all a part of it. And this will mostly sound like virtue signaling. It will mostly sound like, look at how rough we are. But there is a reality to admitting this guilt and being honest with it. Because white people are afraid to do this. And we're afraid to admit it because my people are weak. White people are weak. We have power we have given ourselves and put down the cultures that are stronger than us because we know that we're weak. If white Americans were oppressed the same way black, native, or Mexican American people are, we would crack like glass. Our culture and identity as white people is so meaningless that we do everything in our power to keep other people down so that we don't break from having someone else on top. I think that's why you see white Americans championing white pride, not just out of ignorance or racism, but it's because they are scared. They're scared to come to terms with their guilt, scared to admit they're wrong, and terrified to acknowledge that we may have all the societal, economic, and political power, but as a people we are weak. But this isn't the way it has to be forever. I have hope that one day my people will finally take responsibility for what we have done. I hope that we'll collectively accept our role in the oppression of our non-white brothers and sisters and finally take action. And it will take the action of us white folks. It's not just non-white people that have to fight for their rights. It's us too fighting for them because our cross to bear is being born white. Being born with the skin color of the oppressors means that we have to fight to be nothing like them. We're not near that right now. America is in a tumultuous stage where it very much does not feel like white people are acknowledging where they went wrong. But I want to have hope, and I refuse to accept that one day justice won't prevail. Collectively, we can all shed the shadow of oppression and share this place together. And that's the message I want to end with. I want to be hopeful that one day oppression will be something taught in history class, something that we don't have to see ourselves in. That's what I hope. Anyway, I want to be optimistic in the end. Anyway, that's it.
I just saw a video of this dude being like, yeah, black people are mad about that all-white town in Arkansas. They're so mad. That's one of the things I hate about social media, dude. Because the only people I've seen talk about this shit are non-black people, specifically other white people. They going on their little rants, they talking about it, rightfully so, because the shit crazy. But like, ain't no black people just mad, bro. It's like they'll see the white skin on the person who's mad about something and then will still say black people are so mad about this thing. And it's just so crazy how they're mad about this thing.
I see more white folks worried about that white-only town than black folks. Video after video, I'm seeing, oh my God, y'all, they're being a whites-only town in Arkansas. Did y'all see they're building that white-only town? What are we gonna do? Nothing. We're not gonna do a damn thing. Baby, Mother Nature will take its course. Black folks ain't worried about that shit, because 9 times out of 10, they don't believe in vaccination. They don't believe in doctors. They barely can cook. The children gonna have father uncles. It's going to become a cult. They're going to find a passage in the Bible so one person can become the full leader. And baby, we're going to have Waco all over again. Natural selection will take its course. Let them white folks build their shit. See, the thing is, they're building their stuff out of hate, no matter what they say. When black people built their community, it was for love. It was for protection. It was so we could have something to pass down. White folks have this whole country to pass down. They said they want to preserve their culture. I don't know what kind of culture they preserve. I saw them playing a flute. Hell, even the dog is white. Let them have that shit.
The white-only town is hilarious to me because I am in Richmond, Virginia. I've been traveling lately through the South. And I want y'all to look. This is a nice neighborhood. I'm just going to turn around real quick. I want y'all to see. This is a nice neighborhood. We don't care, baby. Y'all can go out. Y'all don't have nothing when y'all next to us. You're gonna have a negative nothing without us. They're not right. So no, we're not mad. You're just telling us what we already knew, which is to not go near you, which we don't want to. Like, we're humanity. You're evil. Why would we want to go near you? Why would we miss that? I will say people are friendly, but the level and the lack of resources I've seen throughout this state, have fun. You ain't got shit now. You really not gonna have nothing. Being in the middle of nowhere with y'all twin cousins, sister wives, and the women signing up to put their babies in this. But I know why, y'all. There's no libraries, and I see very little schooling. That's the only reason why. Have fun.
Seemingly, there is an all-white community that is currently being built in Arkansas in the States that is only allowing membership for people with European lineage if they can prove so. I would take this with a grain of salt. It's an ongoing story, and I haven't seen a lot of credible news sites reporting on it. I've seen some videos from inside the community, but so far only Sky News and Yahoo have reported on it. The Anti-Defamation League, also known as the ADL, did release a statement on this community though, stating that it revives discredited and reprehensible forms of segregation, and is illegal under the Arkansas Fair Housing Act of 1968, and a bunch of other federal and state civil rights laws. The creator of this community has come out and said that whites should be able to live among their own kind if they so choose. And because they're a private association that doesn't sell real estate, they should be above the laws that people are citing against them. He says that if you made jokes about that whites only town in Arkansas that was covered by Sky News, I'm going to need you to share this video, okay? I think it would be really cool if leftists and anti-fascists and people who are against white supremacy visited the Eddie Mae Herron Center and Museum, whose founder, Pat Johnson, was recently part of that Sky News special and gave her honest feelings about the whites-only town that is being settled very close to her museum.
When I explain what Return to the Land is doing, just half an hour's drive away, she's not so sure. And in her eyes, there is one main reason for that.
And I feel like that's the change of, and I'm just going to say, I think it's the change of our presidency. That's what I'm going to say, because I feel like that's where the change is. It's allowing people to have the right to be open for hatred.
I think it would be great if a lot of leftists and anti-fascists and people who are anti-white supremacy visited that museum and that center, so much so that it was filled every single day it's open with people who respect and honor that history that Pat Johnson is preserving and that she was directly a part of, because that is the school she went to, and she talks about experiencing segregation as a child. I think it would be so cool if a lot of leftists started making content showing everyone and showing the world that there are eyes on this center and that it is protected by people who care about this history. Pat Johnson is a very brave woman. I hope that she and her center stay thriving and unharmed for many, many years.
White people out in Arkansas and the Ozarks are creating these exclusive white-only communities. Should this be something Black Americans should be worried about? Generally speaking, we really shouldn't give a fuck about them wanting to be exclusive to themselves. But I think it's important to still ask questions. Like, what would happen if Black Americans tried to do that? Because the last time I checked, when we tried to build exclusive communities, they burnt them down or flooded them out, like Black Wall Street. So why they get to build something without no consequences? Not only that, but are Black Americans still obligated to pay federal taxes that support the infrastructure of these communities? I hope I'm not out here supporting a community that I can't go to. And what's up with all these truck drivers, Black women and children going missing every time they pass through these sundown type of towns? Is that something we should be concerned about? If you guys could legally start building these communities? And lastly, are you guys taking your police officers with you too? Because according to Bowling Green State University, the police officers who commit the most PSV, police sexual violations, are predominantly white males. Please don't leave them behind. Take them with you too. Y'all boys stay up top.
There is an all-white town being built in Arkansas right now, and I feel like it's not being talked about enough. I've seen it maybe one time, and that's it. In this town, there's no African-American people allowed, there's no gay people allowed, it's just white. And in the interview that the one news reporter is having with the guy, he's basically like, yeah, see, like, we're building a culture where we can control who our neighbor is. Just him using the word control in general, it's just like, Oh, okay, so this is like just literally to have control over anyone that doesn't look like you or have the same, I guess, life as you. I'm just like curious, like how is this like actually a thing that's happening? Because at first I looked at it and I was like, no, this has to be a joke. But then I actually looked into it and it's actually a thing that's going on right now and it's not being talked about. They're quite literally starting segregation again. So it's called Return to the Land. You mean the indigenous land? The name in itself is crazy.
So they're doing a whites only community in Arkansas and the fucking Ozarks. A whites only community in Arkansas. This is where we're at in America today. Like, what the fuck do you mean you don't want to be around people that look like me? Us brown people are fucking cool as hell. Positive vibes, good food, beautiful people. Like, what the fuck do you mean you guys want to live in a whites only community in fucking America in the year 2025? What had to happen in your childhood or growing up that as adults you guys decided you guys want to live in a whites only community? Doesn't that sound fucking stupid? How racist do you have to be to want to live in a whites only community? I mean, I don't know if it's just me, but even if I was white, that sounds lame as fuck. Like, I would never want to do some shit like that. That sounds fucking boring.
Sure. But what this sounds like is bringing back segregation. Is that a fair assessment?
It's free association. So we're not trying to keep other people down. This is a small settlement in the middle of the Ozarks.
But they are being kept out, even if...
Well, I mean, you don't let everyone into your home.
Around 40 people live here. Hundreds more from across the world have paid to be members. And while the men do the physical labour, the women take care of the children who live here full time. It could be a very loving community if you're part of the community, but if you're black, if you're Jewish, or if you're gay, you can't be part of that community.
They can have their own communities, and they already do.
You might be wondering how any of this can be legal.